Are you as excited for Fendig Theater's first ever Monster Mash as much as I am? Oh my gosh, I cannot wait for you to learn more in this week's Fendig Theater Experience episode. Take it away, Blake.
Hi everybody, Blake here. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's Fendig Theater Experience weekly video. This week we are exclusively talking about tomorrow's Monster Mash. I'm very excited to tell you about it. Things look different right now. It's not necessarily the safest time to be doing performances live and in person like Fendig is used to be doing. So we are trying something new with our Monster Mash, and our Monster Mash is going to be presented to you tomorrow in the form of a radio play. Now, what a radio play is it's just audio, and it's 10 minutes, and you are going to hear a story in those 10 minutes. Radio plays were very popular on the radio before televisions were a common household item. So it's a little bit of production history in there for you, but Fendig is going to offer its very own radio play tomorrow in the Monster Mash. And the Monster Mash play for this year is called Night Move, and it was written by Rensselaer's very own John Potter. Night Move tells the story of Dracula as he is on the phone with multiple sales reps as he tries to move from his Transylvania castle to his new castle in London. And for those of you that have ever had a frustrating experience on the phone, I promise you that you are in for some fun and laughs. We had 7 participants involved in our very first Monster Mash, 7 kids from 4 different time zones, and something that was very interesting about doing the Monster Mash is you don't have to memorize any of your lines. We worked exclusively through voiceover, so it's been a unique experience getting to talk to the kids and explaining to them how to act through how their voice sounds and how they say the words in the script. Now, enough of me talking to you like this. Why don't I take you to our virtual Zoom rehearsal room so that you can see a little bit into the process on how our very first Monster Mash came to life. But make sure you tune in tomorrow and listen to Fendig's very first Monster Mash. All right, let's head to the virtual Zoom rehearsal room. Okay, so here we are in my virtual Zoom rehearsal room. This is where the cast members and we've been rehearsing our very first Monster Mash production titled Night Move by Rensselaer's very own John Potter. So in these next couple of segments, you will see the cast, myself, the director, the writer, John Potter, and Sydney, as we get excited for tomorrow's Monster Mash.
So, how do you use elements of storytelling to create your original short story?
Well, it's a one-act play, so you have to have a limited character set, basically one main protagonist, in this case Dracula, and you go on the trip through him, which is all the way from, anxious to frustrated to exasperated. And that's just what I did. And the story is hopefully somewhat funny, but it just builds until the end with the one main character and the side characters adding to his story.
What inspired you for this story?
I've read Dracula, which is why there's lots of references to things from the Dracula book in there. But I mean, this is probably nothing more than, an old-time comedy bit in the line of, who's on first, or, a vaudeville bit. It's just set with, Dracula on the telephone. And then I wanted to help out the children's theater because this could either be done by Zoom with everybody on a Zoom screen or a radio type play with voices only. And I wanted to help out the children's theater because they can't do actual plays during this time, and having just the phone calls would work because it's an all voice play.
And lastly, do you have any advice for other writers when it comes to writing short skits or stories?
Well, I don't know if I have any advice, but I suppose time-honored advice such as write what you know goes. And I think more than most of us have been fed up with customer service representatives on the telephone in our lives. So I use that to come up with this play, and I think probably the best advice I give someone is sit down and write it. And just do it and get it done and look at it and see what you have. I mean, sometimes the hardest thing is to start, come up with an idea, and then sometimes when you're typing or writing, the ideas keep coming. So that's what I would give advice to, is to get started and start writing and see where it goes.
Do you emphasize or exaggerate lines now because you've had to perform virtually?
Not always, but sometimes. When I want to get a point in.
So what is your favorite part about the Monster Mash performance?
My favorite part of the Monster Mash performance would have to be being able to experiment with different types of voices and styles of acting, to be able to learn different ways to perform.
What is it like being a director on Zoom?
Directing via Zoom isn't that much different than directing in real person, except for the obvious fact that we are not in person. But what's been pretty cool about that is we have 7 kids in 4 different time zones in our Monster Mash, our first ever Monster Mash. So imagine how much of a nightmare that was to schedule. But yeah, when we work with the actors and actresses, it's almost as if we're there, just that we're not. Maybe there's some technical difficulties sometimes. Maybe the Wi-Fi goes bad, and maybe I'm like, and sometimes maybe the cast can't hear me. But it's been pretty interesting trying this out via Zoom.
And so what should the audience look forward to with the Monster Mash release?
The humor.
The Monster Mash will be available on our website, fendigtheater.org, tomorrow on Halloween Day. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure to like and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And if you want a notification every time Fendig drops a new video, hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and see you tomorrow, and have a happy Halloween!
I highly encourage you to listen to our first ever Monster Mash tomorrow. If you don't, you might wake up in the middle of the night and see me.